talk about that movie. Are you able to? Is that coming out, or has it been out already? Or
well, it's a short. It's called Zombies in the Basement, and it's
Zombies in the Basement.
Zombies in the Basement.
Okay.
I came in on and there was another couple shorts that it was going to be released as a string of, there was a horror, like a slasher movie called The Postman. So they were going to release like.
I remember that. How do I remember that?
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 shorts that were all kind of strung together. But Zombies in the Basement was a segment that I was in, and I was.
So is that like a YouTube thing, or?
I've been looking for it.
I still haven't found it.
Maybe I'll go home
have
and
to
contact
research,
contact the director.
Yeah, see if we can use that. That would be great.
Maybe he can. I can put him in touch with you because he's a big horror fan.
Good. Love to talk to him.
Okay.
Because I'd like to, with the directors, I'd like to find out exactly what makes them tick. You know, actors they're kind of easy, but they're not easy. Mm-hmm. Because they're given the script and they decide yes or no, you know, does this fit me, does this not fit me? But directors are different because they have this mentality that is so out there sometimes, you know, and you're kind of going, wow. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much they have to be thinking about at the same time. And obviously, like, if you had the ideal setup, you have people at every position all down the line, all being paid, everyone as happy as they can be, and the director is sort of left to more think about the more creative stuff. On the Divine Order, it's just basically just myself and the director, so, you know, a lot to think about.
So let's talk about the Divine Order.
Yes.
This is the movie that he has produced. Now let's talk about producing the movie.
It's hard. It's humbling, it's hard, and I know a lot of actors and directors do that these days because the technology's at a place where you can just say, let's make a movie, and have all the tools, budget, you know, allowing, but you can have all the tools to make a very professional looking movie.
Absolutely. That's why so many people do it these days.
And it's great, you know, it's great to sort of build a body of work and be involved. I love being involved on like the ground level with coming up with a concept and working closely. Like I guess I'm a team player, but I'm also like, I work best like one-on-one and like kind of learning by doing,
Mm-hmm.
me personally. So, I mean, I didn't go to film school. You know, I don't claim to be a filmmaker, but I love making films. So, I guess, you learn by making these little mistakes, but like hopefully the mistakes are small enough, at the small enough level to where you're like, oh, okay, that was not the right thing to do, but we can continue on. It's not a debilitating error that's going to shut down production, because production is already on the brink of shutting down at any moment.
Right.
You know, because you're just by a shoestring. But the Divine Order, I don't know what our budget was, not much, you know, and we've been shooting it sort of as time and money allow throughout the year. But we're utilizing some of the great locations in this area in LA, the desert mostly, because it's a horror film that takes place on a cult compound.
I remember seeing you running, and you were running, and you were running.
Yes, running is free. Desert running is free, and it's good production value.
And I'm sitting there thinking, God, they're out there in the desert, and you know, I mean, it takes sometimes a long time because you have take after take after take. If it doesn't go the way you want it to go, and I'm thinking, my God, when he's falling and he's running.
Yeah, and the desert gets both very cold and very hot, obviously. So we were out last weekend, and it was below 30 degrees, and it was the daytime, you know, and the sun, you know, the low winter sun is kind of not working with us very well, and we're like, ugh. But then we did some stuff that is in the trailer where I literally felt like my skin was melting off, like we're going back into the zombie territory. But I mean, it was so hot, I didn't even, like, I was supposed to be parched, obviously, in the desert looking for shelter and water and, you know, trying to escape from the compound. And to parch yourself, you know, even with like a car nearby and water and air conditioning, you just need to open your mouth for about 5 seconds and your mouth turns completely dry.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
The desert is just someplace I don't know that I want to be. You know, I mean, they have ghost towns and things like that,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't stay out.
Isn't there one out in Death Valley?
There is one out in Death Valley.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what the name of it is, but there's
No,
in the
someone told me
Mojave
one.
Desert as well. There's a few.
There's a famous hotel, I think, out there.
Yes, I would agree with you, but again, I don't remember right
I
off the
don't
top of my head.
either.
But So how did you come up with the concept, the idea, for the Divine Order?
That one in particular, we were kind of in between movies. We were trying to get together this slasher movie, which is still in pre-production, and the script is done, and we'd asked Bill Overs to be a part of it, and he signed a letter of intent. So like we're at that point of being able to like get it going. We don't have enough of the budget, and it's a little higher, but it's called Lost Canyon Road, and so it's in pre-production, I guess you'd call it.
Okay.
But we didn't want to just sit around just waiting for someone to come and give us a bunch of money, because that's not a very realistic way to make movies.
Okay.
So Patrick, my partner, has got this encyclopedic, is that a word? Encyclopedic knowledge of film. And I've learned a lot working with him just about the movies that I'd never heard of, and just things, like we have favorite actors and favorite directors, and he'll tell me about these movies that these directors do where I'm like, I had no idea, and I'll watch it, and it's cool to learn by word of mouth and word, and just from fandom, and kind of like, okay, well, if this person made this. So anyway, we had this idea of, he showed me this cult in the late 90s called the, I don't want to blank on this. They were in San Diego. It was a house, and they found, what's it called? I'll have to get back to you on the name of the cult. But they have a YouTube documentary you can find on YouTube. It's about an hour long.
With the black things over them, and they all laid in bunk beds. And
yep, and they had running track suits.
They were waiting for the aliens to come and get them, or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, what are they called?
Oh gosh.
Heaven's Gate.
That's it. That's
Heaven's
the one.
Gate.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. So anyway, we watched this documentary, and it was fascinating. It was like the sort of, new age. I mean, I'm guilty of like taking part in some things that people could be like, that's new agey. I've done that before. But, and I have lots of friends that were raised by parents who were quote-unquote new age. And then nothing against it at all, but this is sort of like the dark side of the new age, the way I see it. It's sort of like they take things that are, they're things that you couldn't not agree with, like, oh, that's a good way to live, and but it goes like just a few steps further, and you're just like, oh, they just took it too far. But anyway, the man and woman that started Heaven's Gate, she died of cancer, and he continued going with it and drinking the cyanide. I think it was cyanide they drank. It was very spooky, like the end with the plastic bags. And
would have loved to get into that house.
Yeah, you imagine the spirits that are sort of.
I can imagine.
Maybe they did. It was around the time of the Hale Bop.
That's right. That's right. I did get that. Yeah.
So I think they were supposed to hop on the end of that.
Maybe that's what it was. I knew it was something about aliens or something being taken.
There probably were aliens involved. Yeah.
Who knows?
But that was like a starting point of like telling a story that is like more of a straightforward horror film, or like a horror thriller, psychological, aspects, and just setting it in sort of a similar backdrop. We thought the desert was a little bit more cinematically kind of pleasing, just the way it was, and we knew that it was a location that had fallen through early on in production. Also led us to like, oh well, we can do it out in the high desert, and it'll be a free location. But that fell through, and so we worked with what we had. We ended up shooting it right here in the valley at one of at the compound. But then we just would kind of steal locations throughout the county. Not steal, but we would, we would film throughout the county,
Filming's expensive.
But there's a desert just less than an hour away, like desert. Like, since you're down here, you should go to Vasquez Rocks.
Vasquez Rocks.
Yeah, it's where they filmed lots of Star Trek episodes.
Oh, no kidding.
And Planet of the Apes. Like you'll see them, and they're iconic because they're these. I don't know if they were caused by an earthquake. I think they're tectonic plates, but they're very dramatic, and they stick right up into the air.
I know what you're talking about.
It's right off the 14. It's a free park. You just drive in. You're like, wow. You walk around, and you feel like you're on the moon.
Vasquez Rocks. Yes, I have to remember that one.
Famous location. They filmed the Flintstones.
So, are you done with the Divine Order? That's still.
Yes, actually, this coming Sunday, we are filming just a short scene. that will basically be the end of principal photography, and then the editing starts, and we find out what invariably there'll be something that we've missed and need to reshoot. So yeah, exactly. So but for all intents and purposes, yes, it's done.
So when will it be released?
2014.
2014. Everything's coming out better than 2015. So yeah, we have some.
Yes, I mean maybe Lost Canyon Road 2015.
Lost Canyon Road, new film.
That's another one. We have some material, some test footage that we've done for it, but that's another one that is again more straightforward in the horror department, and Bill would be amazing as Creedy. So, but Divine Order is an active movie that will be finished in 2014, and I'm super proud of it.
So that's 2 movies you have coming out in 2014.
Yeah, at least, you know. Other
Not
things,
more.
well, I mean, things just pop up, and you're just like, I didn't expect this to happen. I mean, like, when Matt, my manager, and Bill's manager called me about this, he was like, this is going to be a game changer. And I was like, this is almost too good to be true. Like, this is the ideal sort of, you know, horror experience, working with these legends, and, you know, it's almost like you know, pinching yourself kind of thing, but it's actually happening, you know. So it's been like I told Michael when I first read the script, I was just like, what can I do? Anything I can do to. He's in suburban Philadelphia, and you know we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, horrornews.net is based in New Jersey. I'm not sure of the exact town, but it's like I guess it would be not southern. I think southern New Jersey.
I was wondering why you couldn't be here. I know now.
Yeah, it might be a Skype thing.
Yeah, that's what I told him we would do.
But to get Jared Cohen, I mean, Jared Cohen is I've met him a few times. Not only is he like a super nice guy, but he is like a machine. He directs. It seems like several movies a year. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I know for a fact 2 of them came out this year. So
That's
it's just
great.
like he's a busy dude. And so if there's one guy, sometimes I think you need a director to sort of just keep it moving. And you know, it's like we're trying to make the best movie we can, but we can't expect to make The Shining. And, you know, that's a pretty high bar to set. And so I think certain people are like, we're going to have fun doing this, and that will come across on the screen. And we're here to entertain people and tell a great story. And
I mean,
so
The Shining has been out for so long and so many years,
Mhm.
you know, and even now people are looking at it from different ways. I just found out, as a matter of fact, this last week, about when Jack Nicholson's character went for that first interview in the hotel. It was in the middle of the hotel, but yet it had a window out. So how could you be in the middle of the hotel and they show a window out? Well, that was Stanley Kubrick's weird way of doing things, you know, to make you second guess everything and try to figure all these things out. And there's just these little things like that, and you're just kind of looking at them going, wow, I didn't know that. I have to go back and watch the movie now and say, well, you know.
you don't need it doesn't affect the budget to do things like that.
Yeah,
It's just
and it was
it's
so
just
random.
it's random, but I think it probably subconsciously, because there's a new documentary out, right, about the symbolism of The Shining.
That's right.
I haven't watched it yet, which is a surprise, 'cause it's one of my favorite movies, but
Yeah.
it's a Netflix.
It's a Netflix, and that's where I happened to, and that's when we had to go back and look at the movie. I'm going, wow.
You can also, on YouTube, if you look it up, there's it's like a making of The Shining, but I think it's Stanley Kubrick's daughter that's walking around with this camera in the hotel.
Oh, no.
So she has all this really great access to both her father and Jack and Shelley Duvall, and you know.
Not that it's anywhere near this, but the Stanley Hotel is nicely haunted. It is nicely haunted.
The one where they shot.
Where they shot it.
I understand they shot it in a few different locations.
They probably
right?
did, but the hotel itself is.
Oregon?
The one in Denver, or.
It's in Colorado?
Estes, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. The original
Yeah.
hotel.
And then they shot in a soundstage somewhere, but yeah, I think the outside is in Colorado.
With
Nice.
the maze and all that stuff, yeah, I believe that's there.